Bill and Susanna.
Matt, thanks very much.
Going to university might give you a good start in adult life, but it can put a big financial burden on families, of course. So it's not surprising that parents want their children to do well at college, and that is apparently leading to a new phenomenon of so-called helicopter parents.
Yes, they're the kind who hover over their children, helping with things like preparing for tests and questioning exam results. Academics have identified several types, including the agent, who constantly looks after the child's interests, and the white knight, who appears at short notice to help out in emergencies. Then there's the black hawk, the one who will go to any lengths, legal or even illegal, to give their offspring an advantage.
Well, Paul Redmond from the University of Liverpool has been studying helicopter parents, and he's parachuted in to join us this morning. Morning, Paul.
Morning.
Have you had personal experience then of all this?
Yes, during the research that we've done this year, we've noticed parents are attending careers fairs up and down the country. They're contacting employers. They're negotiating with academics or attempting to negotiate with academics.
So they're getting in touch with, when their children apply for jobs, they are the ones who are getting in touch with the employers as well.
Yeah, some city banks have told me this year that they've made offers to graduates, and then parents have phoned up to negotiate starting salaries.
Gosh, why is it happening now?
I think there's several reasons. I mean, these are baby boomer parents, so these are parents who were born between the late 40s and early 60s, who really have got a much more hands-on relationship with their Generation Y students. So they have a closer relationship with their kids than previous generations.
Are they more pushy parents as well?
They're much more assertive, and they're very keen to make sure that their children get the best advantages in the system, and they know how to use the system.
Does that matter? It means they're being supportive, doesn't it?
Well, it's certainly good. It's a great benefit to have a helicopter parent in your corner. It's like having your own PR agency in some respects. But what we're finding from employers is that the helicopterism is now carrying on into employment. So overstepping the mark, really. And in some cases, it's damaging students' employability, because employers are not impressed when a parent contacts them to complain about a lack of promotion or lack of career advancement.
And at some point, these students have got to stand on their own 2 feet. That's part of what being at university, for instance, is all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. Competition for graduate jobs is very high for the top-level graduate jobs. The BBC, for example, there's 104 graduates competing for every graduate jobs at the moment. So competition's lively, and employers tell us that they want graduates who are self-reliant and who can stand on their own 2 feet.
One or two of these, the agent and the Black Hawk particularly, it's not particularly good. White Knight parents, getting involved in an emergency, that's surely a good idea, isn't it?
Yes, the White Knights are perhaps the most common form of helicopter parents. And the thing about the White Knight is that they will appear, they will deal with the problem, and then recede into the background without people knowing that they've been there.
Okay.
The agent is also very popular, though, and I think it's the agent who is particularly pushy with employers at the moment.
Okay. Paul, thanks for coming in. You're going to come back later.
That's right.
And talk about this with a helicopter parent who may be not necessarily the Black Hawk, possibly the SAS. We don't know what. Anyway,
Thanks very
thank you very
much
much
for now. And is it better to be a helicopter parent or a submarine parent who never surfaces?
Ah, well, that was the other thing we didn't
Yeah.
get to talk about that.
We'll talk about that a bit later on. Still to come this morning. Fighting. Thanks very much, Sue. We'll see you later on.
It's 22 minutes to 8. Going to university might give you a good start in adult life, but it can put a big financial burden on families. So it's not surprising that parents want their children to do well at college, and that is apparently leading to a new phenomenon of so-called helicopter parents.
Yes, helicopter parents, they're the kind who hover over their children, helping with things like preparing for tests and querying exam results.
Yes, academics have identified several types, including the agent, who constantly looks after the child's interests.
Then there's the White Knight, who appears at short notice to help out in emergencies.
But then, ultimately, there's the Black Hawk, the one who'll go to any lengths, legal or illegal, to give their offspring the advantage.
Well, with us is Paul Redmond from the University of Liverpool, who's been studying helicopter parents, and Steve Denonce, a self-confessed helicopter parent, and her 18-year-old son, Jareth, is here too. Very good morning to you both.
Morning.
We better establish first, Paul, what exactly a helicopter parent does, and whether it's a bad or a good thing.
Well, it's a good thing. Helicopter parents, the term first arose in America in the 1990s, and it describes a parent who typically hovers over his or her offspring, intervening and becoming involved in their lives far more than parents did in previous generations. The issue has only recently emerged because parents are starting to hover over students when they get involved with employers, when they compete for jobs.
And that's the new development, the fact that just at the point where you'd imagine students would be independent, going and getting by themselves, the helicopter parents are still there.
That's right. We've noticed a phenomenon this year of parents arriving to careers fairs across the country, and we've also had stories where employers have had parents contact them to negotiate salaries for their for their graduates.
So Steve, which are you, agent, white knight, Black Hawk, or something else?
Probably a mix of the agent and white knight, if I'm really honest. But I just think it's different now. Before you didn't pay university fees, whereas now you do. Before, housing costs weren't as high. Now parents have to look after the fact that their children are going to be paying rent that, was unheard of 10 years ago even. And we have, competitive school places, competitive A levels, competitive university places. It's not the same ballpark anymore for, children to compete at a normal level without their parents being as involved. And if you don't get involved, then your kid will be at a disadvantage.
Jareth, do you feel that it's a positive benefit that your mum is hovering over your career, or would you rather she didn't?
I think
be honest with us.
I think with education being such a pressuring time at the moment, like with people competing for university places, I think it's nice to know that you have that extra support just in case, say, you need rent or something.
But how would you feel if after university your mum then carried on hovering and
I'm not prepared to do that.
So you're not going to do that, and that would be out of the question if she started negotiating a salary
I
for
had
you.
the guts to tell her to just go away.
Well, Paul, I mean, it can be overdone, surely, if you have a situation where parents are, getting involved in job applications, maybe writing the forms for them. That's and right. That sort of thing. It's,
yes. Yes, it can go too far. And employers are saying to us one skill they want from graduates is self-reliance. They want people who can operate for themselves and be autonomous. And with competition for top jobs being so intense this year, it's really important that students can leave the helicopters at home when they compete for jobs.
I mean, Steve, it must be tempting. You say, I'm not going to get involved after university, then he's on his own. But actually, we want the best for our children at every stage, don't we?
We do, but, frankly, if someone's offered him a reasonable salary, which means I no longer have to pay the bills, then I'll kiss the employer and say, take my child off my hands, please. But, in reality, we don't have the same costs, for today's children that we did when I was going to university and my parents went to university. You can no longer just let your kid go to it because there's more people in university for a start.
So, Jareth, you know which university you're going to?
I want to go to an art college.
Right. And will you be living out or will you be living at home with Mum?
Hopefully living out.
And Jareth, do you know there's another category of parents called submarine parents, those who don't surface at all? Do you notice those students whose parents really don't care, they're pretty hands-off?
Not really. I've always gone to a more privileged school, so I've always noticed that the parents are always there behind them. But you do see the students that in mainstream schools that don't have that extra support, and it's a shame to watch other students not be able to
You feel they're missing out.
Paul, with the financial burden being so much higher, I mean, where can parents or where should parents then draw the line as to how closely involved they should get?
Parents have a wealth of experience and advice and contacts that they can help their children with. But I think when it gets into the graduate job market, that's really the line to say, let's draw the line here. Because it really can limit someone's employability if they're having their family involved in their career.
Okay. Paul, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much, Steve and Jareth. Good luck. And good luck as well, Steve, because I understand you're due today with that bump.
Apparently
due
so.
Today?
Yes, today.
Well, very good luck.
Well, very brave of you to come in this morning.
The helicopter parenting continues.
You've got an automatic babysitter there. So
that's the plan.
Okay. Thank you both very much. And Paul, thanks.
7:44, you're watching Breakfast from BBC News. The main stories this morning. More than 50 hospital wards across England and Wales are closed as the winter vomiting bug spreads.